All right, so you sent us a ton of stuff about this big announcement from Microsoft, the Majorana One, the world's first topological quantum chip.
Right.
And you want to know if this is really a quantum leap or is it all just hype? So let's dive in.
I think one of the most interesting things is that Microsoft is taking on a big challenge in quantum computing,
Yeah.
and that's stability.
Yeah.
They're not just going for more qubits, they're going for inherently stable qubits, and that's a big deal.
Right. I mean, you've been following this for a while now.
Yeah.
You know that qubits are notoriously finicky.
Yeah.
But it seems that this Majorana particle that Microsoft is using
Right.
is something else entirely. Can you break down how these topological qubits are built and why they are so much more robust?
Yeah, absolutely. So to understand that robustness, you have to kind of delve into the bizarre world of Majorana particles.
Okay.
And these particles are their own antiparticles,
Oh, wow.
which is a concept that even physicists find mind-boggling.
Oh,
It's like a particle that is both matter and antimatter at the same time.
I mean, that's kind of bending my brain a little bit.
Yeah.
It sounds like something out of science fiction.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But that's what makes it so fascinating for quantum computing. It exists in what's called a topological state. And essentially that means the information is encoded not of the particle itself, but in its overall structure.
Okay.
It's like a knot in a rope. You can twist and bend the rope,
Right.
but the knot remains.
So these knots are the information, and they're protected from all this noise that usually causes problems with qubits.
Right.
That's pretty clever.
Yeah.
It seems almost too good to be true.
Yeah.
Did Microsoft actually manage to create these elusive Majorana particles?
They did. And it's a feat of engineering, to be sure. They combined indium arsenide, which is a common semiconductor,
Okay.
with aluminum, which is a superconductor.
Right.
And they created an entirely new state of matter. It's called a topological superconductor. And by very meticulously arranging these atoms and subjecting them to very specific conditions,
Yeah.
they basically coaxed those Majorana particles into existence.
I'm starting to see why they're calling this a quantum leap.
Right.
I mean, creating a new state of matter just to build a computer, that's not something you hear every day.
It's pretty wild.
So how many of these super stable qubits does this Majorana one actually have?
So currently it only has 8 qubits. And that might seem small compared to some other quantum computers that boast hundreds of qubits. But here's the key difference. Microsoft's topological qubits are inherently more stable,
Right.
which means they require less error correction.
Okay.
So it's about quality over quantity in this case.
I see. So it's like you have a small team of like highly trained special forces versus
Right.
a huge army of just recruits that don't really know what they're doing.
Exactly.
So even with a smaller number of qubits, the Majorana one can potentially outperform some of its rivals when it comes to actual computing power. And this scalability aspect that you mentioned before is really intriguing. How many qubits are they ultimately aiming for?
So Microsoft's architecture is designed to scale up to 1 million qubits
A million.
on a single chip. Now, imagine the possibilities if they succeed. But let's not get ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
because scaling up is a monumental challenge. I mean, each qubit needs precise control and manipulation.
Right.
We're talking about advancements in material science, fabrication techniques, cryogenic engineering. All of these things have to come together.
Yeah, it sounds like we're on the verge of a whole new era of computing.
Yeah.
But before we get too lost in all the things we could do with this, let's dig a little deeper into the challenges of actually building this million qubit behemoth.
Okay.
What are the most significant hurdles that Microsoft needs to clear?
So scaling to 1 million qubits, well, that presents a whole other set of challenges.
Yeah.
It's not just about fitting them all onto a chip.
Right.
It's about controlling them with incredible precision.
Okay.
Imagine you're trying to orchestrate 1 million microscopic dancers,
Okay.
each one performing this delicate quantum ballet.
That's quite the image.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. So it's not just the hardware then, right?
No.
The software and algorithms controlling these qubits must be incredibly complex.
Precisely. We're talking about developing entirely new programming languages
Wow.
and algorithms specifically designed to harness the power of these topological qubits.
Okay.
So it's really uncharted territory,
Yeah.
both in terms of hardware and software.
That sounds like a massive undertaking, even for for a company like Microsoft.
It is.
Let's say they do overcome these challenges.
Okay.
What's the timeline here?
Well,
when can we realistically expect to see this million-qubit quantum computer become a reality?
So Microsoft is aiming to have commercial topological quantum computers
Oh,
available by the end of this decade.
okay.
It's an ambitious goal.
Yeah.
But they've assembled a world-class team of scientists and engineers.
That's sooner than I anticipated.
Yeah.
Less than a decade before we potentially enter this new era of computing.
Potentially, yeah.
It's exciting and maybe a little bit daunting.
I agree.
So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the potential impact.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that this technology could revolutionize entire industries.
You could.
Can you give us some concrete examples of how this Majorana 1 could actually change our lives?
Sure. So imagine a world where drug discovery is accelerated exponentially.
Okay.
Instead of years of trial and error,
Right.
we could use quantum simulations to design drugs
Okay.
that are tailored to specific diseases
Yeah.
and even to individuals.
Wow.
This could lead to breakthroughs in treating diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's,
Right.
countless others.
That would be a game changer for healthcare for sure.
Absolutely.
But what about other fields?
Yeah.
What about materials science?
Right.
You talked about self-healing materials.
Yeah.
Is that something we could actually see in our lifetime?
Absolutely. With quantum simulations, we could design materials with specific properties at the atomic level.
Oh, okay.
Imagine buildings that repair their own cracks.
Oh, wow.
Aircraft wings that adapt to changing aerodynamic conditions.
Okay.
I mean, the possibilities are really endless.
It sounds like we're stepping into the realm of science fiction here.
Yeah, it does.
But this time it's not fiction. It's potentially our future.
Right.
What about artificial intelligence?
Okay.
How would quantum computing impact the development of AI?
Well, AI would undergo a revolution.
Oh, wow.
Quantum computers could analyze massive data sets
Yeah.
and identify patterns that are simply invisible to classical computers.
Okay.
And this could lead to AI systems with human-level cognitive abilities
Okay.
and beyond. Think of AI that can truly understand and respond to natural language,
Yeah.
translate languages seamlessly, even compose music or create art.
Wow.
The possibilities are truly mind-boggling.
This is all incredibly exciting, but I have to admit it's also a little overwhelming.
Yeah, I understand.
As we create these incredibly powerful tools,
Yeah,
how do we ensure that they're used responsibly?
right.
What are some of the ethical considerations that we need to address as we enter this new era of quantum computing?
That's a crucial question.
Yeah.
We need to have open and honest conversations about the potential impact of quantum computing on society.
Right.
One major concern is job displacement.
Okay.
As AI systems become more sophisticated,
Right.
certain jobs may become automated.
That's a valid concern. I mean, we've seen similar disruptions with automation in manufacturing.
Exactly.
What steps can we take to mitigate this potential impact?
It's essential to focus on education and retraining programs
Okay.
to prepare the workforce for the jobs of the future.
Right.
We need to equip people with the skills they need to thrive in a world where quantum computing is commonplace.
Yeah.
Another key area is data privacy and security.
Okay.
Quantum computers could potentially break the encryption methods
Right.
that we currently rely on to protect sensitive information.
So we need to develop quantum-resistant encryption methods to safeguard our data.
Precisely.
Wow.
It's a race against time.
Yeah.
But researchers are already working on developing new encryption algorithms
Okay.
that can withstand the power of quantum computers.
Right.
This is a critical area for investment and collaboration.
It seems like we're standing at a crossroads.
In a way, we are.
On one hand, we have this incredible potential
Yeah,
to solve some of humanity's biggest challenges.
right.
And on the other hand, we have these really complex ethical and societal implications that we need to address.
Right.
How do we navigate this new landscape responsibly?
It requires a multifaceted approach.
Okay.
We need to foster open dialogue,
Right.
engage with diverse perspectives,
Yeah.
and establish ethical guidelines for the development and use of quantum computing.
Okay.
We need to ensure that this technology is used for good,
Yeah.
to benefit all of humanity,
Right.
not just a select few.
It sounds like we're not just talking about technological advancements here, but a fundamental shift
I think so.
in how we think about our responsibilities as a society
I agree.
as we unlock the power of this quantum realm.
Yeah.
We need to make sure we're using this power wisely.
We do.
What's your take on this? How can we as individuals prepare for this quantum future?
I think the most important thing is to stay informed and engaged.
Okay.
Learn about quantum computing, explore its potential applications, and engage in discussions about its ethical and societal implications.
Yeah.
The more we understand about this technology,
Right.
the better equipped we'll be to shape its future in a positive direction.
That's great advice.
I hope so.
Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to navigating this rapidly evolving technological landscape.
Absolutely.
But before we wrap up, I'm curious about your personal perspective.
Okay.
What are you most excited about when you think about the potential of quantum computing?
You know what excites me most is the potential to unlock mysteries that have puzzled scientists for centuries.
Yeah.
Imagine using quantum computers to simulate the early universe,
Oh, wow.
to understand the fundamental nature of reality,
Okay.
to explore the very fabric of space-time.
Right.
I mean, the possibilities are mind-boggling.
That's a fantastic point.
Yeah.
It's not just about solving these practical problems. It's about expanding our understanding of the universe and our place within it.
Right.
It's about pushing the boundaries of human knowledge
It is.
and exploring the unknown.
Right.
Yeah, it really does highlight the transformative potential of all of this, and we've been talking about its impact on various fields.
Right.
But I'm curious about the bigger picture here.
Okay.
How do you see this Majorana 1 fitting into the broader landscape of this whole quantum computing race that seems to be happening?
So Microsoft's approach with this Majorana 1 is definitely a bold bet.
Yeah.
They're really not following the crowd.
Okay.
I mean, you've got companies like Google and IonQ that are making some strides with these superconducting and trapped ion qubits.
Yeah.
But Microsoft is really forging a new path with these topological qubits.
Okay.
It's a high-risk, high-reward strategy for sure.
So it's kind of a gamble.
Yeah.
But if it pays off, it could give them a significant advantage.
Oh, absolutely.
In this race.
Yeah.
So what are some of the key factors that will really determine who wins this thing?
I think it's not just about who builds the most powerful quantum computer first.
Okay.
I think it's about developing a comprehensive ecosystem.
Yeah.
The hardware, the software, the algorithms, the talent.
Right.
It's about fostering collaboration.
Okay.
And creating a community of developers and researchers
Yeah.
who can actually harness the power of this technology.
So it's really a multifaceted challenge.
Yeah, it is.
A combination of scientific breakthroughs, technological innovation,
Absolutely.
and strategic collaborations.
Yeah.
Do you see any potential roadblocks or unforeseen challenges that could hinder this whole quantum revolution that seems to be happening?
So I think one of the biggest challenges is actually managing expectations.
Okay.
There is so much hype surrounding quantum computing right now.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that we're still in the very early stages of development.
Right.
It's going to take time, effort, and a lot of resources
Yeah.
to realize the full potential of this technology. And I think we also need to be mindful of the ethical considerations
Right.
that we talked about earlier.
Absolutely. We need to proceed thoughtfully
Yeah.
and make sure this power is used responsibly.
For sure.
It's fascinating to see how rapidly this whole field is evolving.
It is.
I mean, just a few years ago, quantum computing was really confined to research labs.
Yeah, pretty much.
And now we're seeing these major tech companies and governments investing heavily in it.
Yeah.
What do you think the next 10 years hold for quantum computing?
I think we're going to see an explosion of innovation in the next decade.
Oh, wow.
I think we'll see quantum computers being used to solve real-world problems in fields like medicine materials, science, finance, AI.
Yeah.
We may even see new industries and applications emerge
Right.
that we can't even imagine today.
That's exciting.
It is.
It's an exciting time to be witnessing this whole thing unfold.
It really is.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Majorana 1 and this whole world of quantum computing,
Yeah.
I want to thank you for sharing your expertise with us today.
It's been a pleasure.
You've given us a lot to think about.
I'm glad.
And to our listener, we hope this deep dive has shed some light on the science, the potential, the challenges of Microsoft's ambitious venture into this world of topological quantum computing.
Yeah.
Remember, this is just the beginning of this quantum revolution.
Yeah.
And the possibilities really are limitless.
They are.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep imagining the future.
Yeah.
Until next time, stay curious.